Thursday, March 23rd, the Board of Health meeting for the town of East Longmeadow. So I will call this meeting to order. The Board of Health is recording. Is anyone else recording? Okay, and we are meeting this evening via Zoom webinar pursuant to former Governor Baker's March 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. So first thing on the agenda, did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting, which was January 30th? Okay, does anyone have any changes, updates, anything to add to those minutes? Okay, can we get a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I'll motion.
Second.
All right, and a roll call vote. Christine Johnston, aye. Katie Jobbins?
Aye.
Rebecca Torsha?
Aye.
All right, thank you. And thank you again, Renee, for putting together the minutes. Do we have anyone here for public comment?
We do not.
All right, then we will move on to business at hand. Tammy.
The business at hand. Let's see. All right, so trash and recycling program updates. We are still moving on with our goal to get all the schools recycling their organics. We just moved to Birchland, and Liz is going to be there for maybe a few more weeks and just to kind of smooth out the bumps, but the schools have been picking it up. They've been doing well on their own once Liz leaves with all of her guidance. So for I asked the men at Matt and Steve at Commonwealth Sustainabilities for the last month's organic materials pickup. And so for the month of February, which did have 1 week off of vacation, there was 2,844 pounds picked up, which is amazing. And that total since beginning of the school year, it's over 14,000 pounds of food, which is amazing. And now that compost is being generated, Commonwealth Sustainabilities has offered some of the schools compost back for their gardening programs, which is really neat. Let's see, anything else trash related that I can think of other than our Earth Day events. So this year for Earth Day, which Earth Day is the 22nd, but our cleanup event is going to be on the 8th just because of how it goes with other towns having their cleanups and the holidays and everything like that. So Saturday, April 8th will be the cleanup. But this time, in order to highlight some of our vendors and some of the people who've been helping out, on the 5th at the library from 4 to 6, which is a Wednesday, we're going to sort of have a kickoff event. There'll be some talks on, I believe, on composting and some other topics. Some students from, I believe it's the high school, will be displaying some artwork. I'm not exactly sure if we've got the final lineup done, but that way it'll kind of meld into that. And if you come that day, you can also pick up your bags and sort of sign in if you don't feel like going to sign in on a Saturday morning. We're thinking about on that Saturday morning, it just being sort of like a drive-through instead of you kind of there being the kickoff event. You just go pick up your bags, mark that you're there, and move on with your day. If you want to sign up, just you go to the town's website, go to the health department, and there will be a little link for signing up. And I believe you can sign up teams, you can sign up individuals, and there will be prizes for the most interesting finds, largest finds, heaviest finds. We've got a whole list of things like that. Let's see. The tobacco sales regulation. So we were able to find out what some of the language was. It's really only language in the definition portion of what we were working on. So Cheryl Zabara is going to go and she's going to do that. And she's also going to, she say compress it so that we can have a better file to use. Is that what, yeah. The tech talk, so that we'll have that. I think that once we have that, we'd probably be good to go to just go ahead and have the public hearing for it. maybe mid-March or something, or not March, mid-May, give us enough time to get it up on the website, and we'll talk about the meeting, I guess, at the end. Schedule it at the end. But other than that, really nothing different from what we discussed in our last meetings and what you've seen. I think it's just there's a little different blurb in the purpose section, and I think in the definition section. So once we get that, I will get that out to you guys, and then we decide on that. We can put that up on the town website too. E-permitting. We're kind of in the thick of things over the last couple of weeks with food service permits and frozen dessert permits renewing. And Renee, since you are sort of like the go-to person when anyone has calls or anything like that, any thoughts, any issues, how do you feel about it?
So it's super easy. It definitely streamlined things. I think it's going to be, I think it's actually really easy to pick up as far as like when you sign in. It's really like self-explanatory, it flows really, really well. As far as my like going through the permits and just double checking everything. I think it's better than the paper applications that we get. And getting in touch with the people is a lot easier because you have an ability to comment on their application, telling them what you're missing, and like an email automatically goes out. So I think the biggest challenge that we've had is just getting people to submit their permits, their permit applications, and just making sure that they're answering the questions correctly. So.
And so it's interesting, Renee, someone asked me this the other day and I'm like, I don't know. So if someone just like is having an event in East Long Meadow that has food, they do the permit online now, right? Like if it's open to the public, things like that. And that's all they have to do is fill out the form and then you make comment on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yep.
Awesome. Okay.
And
I'm like, I know we do this, but I don't know what it is and where the website. I'm like, because I've never had to fill it out myself, but I saw the form we had. So.
And we did just go live also with the temporary events. So, if you're going to be having a 1 day or a weekend event or partake in the farmer's market. So not at a brick and mortar place. So we just went live with that. I think we've already had a few people fill out them for the summer. It's pretty simple, although I think on that one, I didn't realize, what we need to do is we need to put an inspection step. So we'll have to, because we typically don't give out people licenses until they've been inspected for the temporary. And I didn't think about that when we were doing that. It just popped up today. So that's going really well. Tobacco also went live, but it's not tobacco season or tobacco and renewal. That's not just tobacco season. It's not till September, but at least we have that already online. And but from here on in, we don't get the personal assistance of OpenGov to develop them. The town paid for so many for each department to use. So luckily we were able to connect with some other towns that are using it and get their templates so that we don't have to start from scratch. So I'm working on rec camps right now, which is actually a very long permit anyway, which might not be the best one to do online, but we'll see how it looks before deciding to make that decision. Because it's pretty much you end up giving a binder's worth of material for rec camps, just based off of what the code requires. So that's looking good. So in order to streamline, we did sort of condense, as obviously we voted on it last month. We did condense some of our permits, which will for this season, for this year, it will have reduced our revenue for this year. So for next year, we'll probably be looking at, now that we've kind of combined and streamlined them, increasing it so that we can make up what the revenue that we lost for this year. Let's see. Any questions on that? I feel like I'm just plucking through. So we have successfully gone through the budget process of submitting our request for this year. Usually, I believe it's about May is when the town council votes on it. For this year, we had a few different changes. We had one additional request, and our request would be that the line item for our public health nurse was increased from 10 hours to 20, but not at that rate, not at the rate of $40 an hour that we had at for the 10 hours. So that would increase that part of the budget by about 15,000. And then with cost of living raises and everything like that, we're boosted by about 25,000 for staffing. For our miscellaneous, the biggest thing that's happening is, well, we're hoping is that all of our environmental testing that we facilitate through the health department will move to the DPW, which really makes sense because they're the ones that work with the companies that are doing it. They understand the work that's being done at the landfills for it. So that while, that makes it look like a bit was taken out of our budget, it really is being shifted to another department to do that work. It's not 100% confirmed, but it'll make things a little easier dealing with the consultants in their program than ours. Other than that, we really did not, nothing different, no new asks. Our budget for trash went up a bit because of our change to Casella and their last minute changes to how they do the the mileage. So that went up. It looks like it goes up 9%, but really there was a change in the budget from right after the budget was approved to add in it. So it's really more like a 5% change, not a 9% change. That is that. Any questions? I know it's some kind of exciting budgetary. I know they're really trying to stay very level funded for this year across the board. Let's see. COVID and other reportable diseases. Not the most exciting, thankfully. Knock on wood, a couple of weeks. COVID numbers have gone down drastically in town. We are at about 4.75% positivity. They're not gone because we still get the phone calls from some of the skilled nursing facilities. Just they don't need to report to us, but they still will call and just ask if there's anything new on our end that they need to know. Flu really went down. I think since the last time we met, there was only 5 cases that went through Maven. The thing that we have been seeing with not frequency, but regularity at least, is Lyme disease and babesiosis. So I think this might be a good year to sort of, even if it's not something that you're contracting here in town, to start working on a little bit of a campaign to get out the information on, wearing the proper clothing when you're outdoors, how to treat your backyard and everything like that. We've done it in the past. And so I think it's probably a good time now that everybody's sort of getting back to their old activities to kind of push that message.
We definitely are going to have a bad season because it's been a very mild winter. I already found a tick on my dog.
Ooh.
So
See?
I think the big thing is to recognize too, you can get it in town, like it was in my yard. So just recognizing it doesn't have to be like hiking in the woods. And that DEET and like obviously a lot of other variety of sprays and lotions you can use are really good, but it's really important just every time you are outside, regardless, do a full body scan, and that recognizing the difference between a dog tick and a deer tick.
Which we have plenty of the little, if anyone ever gets interested, we have plenty of the little cards to keep in your wallet in the office. And I'm going to try to make a push to see if I can get some of that out more to different areas of town too, to get to, just so that people can get a better sense of what they're dealing with. And I haven't thought about what to do for a campaign yet for this spring, but keep everybody posted. And if you have good ideas, send them to me.
I was gonna say involving the camps, right? Thinking
Yeah.
about being outside a lot. I know, like we already got something. I think when we registered Eleanor for one of her camps, it came in the parent packet. Like, this is the information you need to know about ticks and like what to do every single day when you get home and things like that.
And those are, required by state law to give the parents too. But just making sure that the camps have the most up-to-date information. I think, we've all been kind of lugging around very old flyers and handouts and things like that. So to make sure everybody has that is a good idea. Let's see. Vaccination numbers haven't changed very much. We're still at, for COVID, we're still at 76% fully vaccinated, 47% with their first booster dose, and 22% with the second booster dose, which leads us to on April 25th, we'll be having a booster clinic at the Council on Aging. They're doing a wellness event there. It will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. No registration is required, and Behavioral Health Network will be giving out $25 gift certificates to Stop and Shop for all who receive their vaccine. So one last push. I don't know what things will look like after the public health emergency is lifted, but no time like the present to go and get vaccinated. Let's see. We've also restocked our supplies of test kits. So if people need those, they're always free to come down to the town hall to get it. If they think that they've been vaccinated, all they have to do is call us. We will meet them outside and we will pass it through a window. Or infected, not vaccinated. We'll throw it through a window. Sometimes we've even just put it a couple people just put it in the bed of my truck. I won't even roll down the window for you. So that's kind of nice. That's it for that. Let's see. As for other business, we will be posting soon our animal control officer, animal inspector position, because one of our animal control officers officially resigned. So we have that position open, but the job description is from 1991, so we kind of need to update it. So we're working on that. Still no takers on the nurse position. So, I mean, I'm assuming it would be nice to be able to kind of find out in May if they approve that budget so that on July 1st, we can hire a full-time nurse for the town. Fingers crossed. And that's that for my other business.
Tammy, I had emailed you about the AEDs. Does that fall under us or does that fall under something else?
There's a couple different things that falls under. I did find out a little bit about what happens with the high schools. They do have AED devices, but they can't keep them outside all year.
Right.
They can only be kept during certain times of the year. With the Parks and Rec department, depending on the leagues, they have their own personal requirements for their coaches to have them. So what I think would be the best thing to do is to work with individual leagues so that their coaches are trained with how to use them, and they individually have them. And if the leagues can't afford them, they can apply for them through Kev. I don't have that
How you say
information.
it? So KEV.
KEV was the boy in Westfield who, yeah, and
Okay.
they do have a way for teams to get their own AEDs for that. But
Yeah, 'cause
obviously with the training.
the baseball for East Long Meadow reached out to me as like a doctor and a member of the Board of Health saying, how do we figure out AEDs for all the fields? Like Leahy does not have one in the center of town. So
Yeah, and it probably wouldn't be best to have them at a field, but have them with the teams.
with the teams.
themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess they are getting, they are getting better to the point where you don't need to have them constantly charging. I
Right.
found out. There was something else,
Mm.
and we've been dealing with it in town hall because we had found out that people didn't really know what it was for, and that they, they're beeping, and that because the battery was dying. So we've had those serviced, and actually we're going to work on doing a training for the town employees. in
Well, that's
town hall.
awesome.
Yeah, it's, we were realizing how the senior center does a lot of trainings and the library does a lot of trainings. But that's because they're one building under one department, whereas town hall is not one building under one department. So we need to kind of get together as department heads and kind of hash out what are the trainings that we think were best for their employees. And so I want to work on a couple different health and safety topics, maybe some bloodborne pathogens. We've had people fall down, not know what to do with that, had other bodily spills like vomit and things like that. And while, yeah, we do have maintenance to help on that. Sometimes it's after hours, sometimes they're not there, and you need to make a decision about it. So that's something we want to work on. I want to work on for town hall, which I think that all the other departments will be happy to help us on that topic.
And then what about, I don't know if that because Governor Healy, the provisions have expired, what does that mean for our future with the next business meetings and things like that? Do we have to then come in person, or is Zoom still an option? I didn't read through all the large pages of the thing.
Yeah, I didn't hear back from our clerk before the meeting if there's of what she had to say about any remote extensions. So we'll have to give it to the 31st. That's how many days are in this month.
So what I gained from NPR the other day was that there is a bill at the state level that would put provisions in place to continue remote meetings and take out alcohol as the two provisions of the pandemic act that is currently buried in a bill or a budget bill.
Yeah.
And so there may be a lag. Like the idea, basically the public thought is that they will get passed. It's just whether they will get passed without any lapse in, and that's the take I took from NPR. So one source.
Yeah. And that's exactly what the town clerk was telling me about it too. So hopefully, I don't know if we'll find out by the 31st, but the other thing I'm looking into is kind of getting us a sort of a meeting camera device that could help us do hybrid meetings, depending on what whether or not we're allowed to do such in the future. I think it would also just help for doing things like trainings and other stuff like that with our medical reserve corps CERT team. But they're a little pricey, but IT was also thinking about trying to add that to the budget too, because that might be the future of meetings in general throughout town, little hybrid meetings.
I asked selfishly, it's just really hard for me to get to a meeting and then home and all the things. So it's much easier. Oh, and then cats join meetings. I love that too. But that's why selfishly, it's a lot easier for us to, I would love to see you all in real life, but it's a lot easier for everyone to be at their home with their family and then hop on and then hop off when they, we're done.
It is definitely true, especially with meetings being in the evening, and having to get back in your car and drive. But there is something to be said about the creativity and the thought process that happens in person versus over a computer screen.
It is nice to be able to post them though.
Yes, which
Right.
we would still be required to do.
Okay.
It just wouldn't be, I would assume we would, if we did have to go back to meeting in person, we would post if you cannot post the minutes within, I believe, 24 hours, you have to have the recording ready. I'm trying to remember what life was like pre-pandemic. I think things will. I think things will. I think there's also a lot of participation. No, we don't have a lot of that at our meetings. I think in other meetings across, different civic organizations, municipal organizations, I think there is a lot more participation from the public in the meetings. But at least I have heard people talk about, oh yeah, I was listening to your meeting. you don't, so you can have your dinner and then tomorrow morning when you're at work, you can take a look at the meeting, which is kind of nice.
All right. Anything else, Tammy?
I know there's probably a million things happening. I feel like once I start writing the list, I'm like, okay, what are we, what are our different topics and what do we have going on? And I feel like it was very heavy for a couple weeks. Very, very online permitting heavy. We were having meetings every week. And now we've kind of, now that we've sort of gotten the hang of it and the most of the constituents, we have a couple hangers on. We're going to impose the late fee on Monday if people haven't paid by then. We've given a little grace period just because it's brand new. But after Monday, that's when it'll be the $50 per week added on to your final fee. So I think that's all I have.
Rebecca, Katie, anything you want to add? Okay. So then we need to look at a next meeting date. I know we talked about reviewing the tobacco sales regulation. Do we need to post that as just a public hearing, or do we need to have a meeting prior to having a public hearing? Tammy?
I don't think we should, I mean, unless you guys want to go over the difference in the language, you probably, like, once we get that and we post it and get you guys a copy, I don't think we would need to. But
So
we would just
when
need
is that
adequate.
coming in?
Say it again?
You said that was coming in end of April?
No, I believe she's working on it for us right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought I heard you say something about end of April. Okay.
Yeah, because we hadn't heard from them for a while, and Alex finally reached out to Cheryl, and Cheryl said, "Oh yeah, she'll update that for us and get us the compressed version for posting, so that we can put it up on the website too for people to view." And then I think we just have to do the same thing, the 14-day public notice for hearing and await the calls to come in.
And April vacation is obviously in the mix, and I have 2 work trips in April.
Well, that's why I was thinking that like maybe mid-May might give us time for
Mhm.
Yeah.
get that done.
Yeah, just get that break in there.
And you run into Passover in April. You run into Easter holidays in April.
Easter,
We're in the
yep.
middle. We're in Ramadan. So
Right now?
you're,
Yep.
all the major holidays right now.
So does anyone have any evening conflicts in May now? I'm just thinking because I know sometimes classes or other commitments.
I'll say May 17th. I have a commencement ceremony.
Oh, that's
Your
right, I'm meeting that
commencement
night too.
ceremony?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go.
Oh, that's amazing. You totally
Good.
should go.
You know, my kids are like, yeah, you should go.
You should.
You should.
I'll probably never do this again. So yeah.
I could
I'll
do
probably be coaching, but they can miss me for one day. I don't know the dates yet, so
I could do
I'm-
May 16th.
Hmm.
That's a
That'll work.
Tuesday.
That'll
Works
work.
for me.
That'll work.
And if we have to be in person, I actually get out of work in time to be there in person.
Well, we can push it back a little bit too, Katie, if you needed to, like, or if you're like,
my
I would
family
actually
might
like,
my family might be revolting by the time I get home, which I'm sure
Okay.
you all understand.
Been there, yeah.
that sounds like a good day. May. I can't even believe we're talking about May.
I
Yeah.
know. All right, so let's plan for May 16th then.
all right.
Okay. I'll send an invite so it's in everybody's calendar.
Perfect.
We should definitely know by then if we have to be in person or not.
Right.
Oh yeah. I would think so.
Cool.
I'm guessing we're not. I mean, if so, it might end up being like 1 month
Mhm.
or so that we might have to meet in person if we decided to meet in person.
Yeah, but that's like 8 weeks out. So,
Yeah, we've got some time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
all right.
Great.
If we have nothing else, can we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I motion.
I second.
All right. Christine Johnston, Rebecca Torsha,
I
Katie Jobbins,
Aye.
All right, ladies, meeting is adjourned.
Take care, everybody.
Everybody, bye-bye.
Have a great night.
Thank you. You